early morning wind drifted softly across the hillside, carrying the cool mist and the fresh scent of soil after a long night. Tieu woke while the world was still wrapped in fog. She slipped on a thin brown blouse, took her bamboo basket, and walked toward the greenhouse. The sun was just beginning to rise above the distant ridge, its pale light filtering through the clear plastic roof, shining over rows of lush green melons heavy with fruit. Inside, moisture still clung to the leaves. Tiny drops of dew sparkled like thousands of little crystals under the first light of day. She bent down carefully, parting each broad leaf, selecting the best melons, round and firm, their golden skin veined with delicate lines, a sure sign they were ripe. Her hand brushed over each one before twisting it lightly. The soft crack at the stem made her heart flutter. A quiet smile curved on her sun-kissed face, the kind of joy only those who live close to the land understand. She took a small knife and cut one open. As the blade slid through the thin rind, a sweet, cool fragrance spread through the greenhouse. She lifted a slice to her lips, the flesh glowed like amber. The taste was gentle and clean, not overly sweet, yet so pure it seemed to melt the morning air itself. She nodded, smiling softly. This harvest is perfect. Then she went back to work. One by one, she picked the ripe melons, wiped each clean, and placed them neatly into her bamboo basket. The faint thud of melons touching each other blended with the rustle of wind outside, a quiet rhythm of morning labor. The first basket soon filled, but dozens of golden fruits still shimmered between the leaves. She straightened up, brushed the sweat from her cheek, and looked around the garden with eyes full of quiet pride. Well, just a few more. I should make it in time for the early market, she murmured to herself. Taking another sack, she moved down the rows again, cutting, gathering, lifting, her hands calloused but gentle, treating each fruit like the reward of all her hard days under the sun. When every sack was full, she tied them securely, stacked them by the path, and took a deep breath of the cool morning breeze. The mist was fading now. The rising sunlight spilled gold across her back, stretching her small shadow long across the dirt road. She shouldered a heavy sack and began the familiar walk down the winding path. The road to the village was rough, but her steps were steady. The breeze played with her hair, carrying the scent of ripe fruit and wet earth. On both sides, young rice swayed gently, each dewdrop flashing like a gem. Occasionally, early passers-by called out greetings. She smiled and nodded, her small frame moving rhythmically with the soft breath of dawn. The faint sweetness of melon lingered in the air, mingling with the smell of rice, soil, and sunlight, the fragrance of simple life, quietly nurtured day after day. At the marketplace, she set her load down, wiped the sweat from her brow, and began arranging the fruit. Sunlight fell across the smooth golden melons, their skins glowing like honey. Tieu exhaled softly and smiled. Another morning had begun. And she, that steadfast woman of the hills, continued to plant, to harvest, and to live fully within the gentle, ordinary miracles of her humble life. The morning market in the small district town was, as always, filled with life. Voices calling out, vendors advertising their goods, the creak of old bicycle chains, and the mingled aromas of noodle soup, grilled bread, and freshly brewed tea drifting in the misty air. Wisps of smoke rose from the food stalls along the road, blending with the soft dawn fog, wrapping the whole place in a warmth that felt both humble and familiar. But today, Tieu arrived earlier than usual. After the night's rain, the dirt road was still damp and uneven, patches of mud cracking slightly under her light steps. The sun had just begun to rise, weak beams filtering through the trees, slowly drying the puddles scattered along the path. The morning breeze brushed against her hair, carrying the scent of young rice from the nearby fields. Fresh, earthy, and soothing. She found a small covered corner beside an old woman's vegetable stall. A modest spot where the sunlight touched gently but never harshly. "This will do," she murmured softly, setting her melon basket down, and wiping away the sweat already forming on her forehead. She spread out a small mat and carefully arranged her golden melons on the low bamboo rack, wiping off each bit of dust with quiet patience. Each fruit was a piece of her labor, months of tending, sleepless nights fearing drought or heavy rain. and the constant worry of pests or storms undoing her effort. The faint fragrance of ripe melon drifted into the air, mingling with the smell of mint, fresh fish, scallions, and newly baked bread. Together, they created that familiar scent of a countryside market. Simple, noisy, yet full of life and warmth. Vendors shouted their prices, cleavers clanked on wooden boards, and laughter from the regulars filled the air like a morning song of the town. Yet today, her stall was quieter than usual. People walked by, glancing at her fruit, smiling politely, and moving on. A few stopped to ask about the price but shook their heads. Maybe next time. Still, Tieu waited patiently. Her eyes followed the steady stream of people. Her fingers toyed nervously with the hem of her shirt. The wind lifted loose strands of hair, sticking them to her damp forehead. By late morning, sunlight spilled over the market roofs in slanted golden beams. She shielded her eyes and looked toward the market gate. A sigh slipping past her lips. Her stomach growled with hunger. But she didn't dare leave, afraid a customer might come while she was gone. In her pocket, only a few crumpled bills remained. Barely enough for some rice, a bit of food, and milk for her 2 children at home. Time crawled by. The clock from a nearby stall chimed, marking the late morning hours. The heat grew thicker, the air heavy with the smell of sweat and dust. She fanned herself with a piece of cardboard but kept her eyes fixed on the road. Finally, a middle-aged woman stopped by. Wearing a conical hat and holding a bag of vegetables, she smiled kindly. "Are these melons from your farm, dear? Give me 2. Tieu's face lit up, her voice soft but bright. "Yes, they're from my garden. The sweetness is light, very refreshing." She chose the best 2, wiped them clean, and wrapped them carefully in dry banana leaves, tying them neatly with a straw string before handing them over. "They look lovely," the woman said warmly. "Thank you, dear." The faint rustle of paper money sounded small, but to Tieu, it felt like music. 2 melons sold, a modest start, yet enough to warm her heart. As the sun tilted westward, the market slowly quieted. Nearby stalls began packing up, laughter faded with the crowd. She sat for a while, lost in thought, her gentle expression unchanged. After a moment, she stood, rearranged the remaining melons, and said to the old woman next to her, "Auntie, could you please watch my stall for a bit? I'll grab a bite to eat." "Go on, child," the woman replied kindly. "You must be starving." Tieu bowed slightly, smiling in gratitude, then walked toward the bakery at the end of the row. The smell of warm bread, pâté, and fried eggs filled the air, making her stomach twist with hunger. She bought a simple egg sandwich and took a small bite. Her throat dry, yet somehow the taste felt wonderful. Perhaps because it carried both the flavor of effort and quiet pride. As she walked back through the sun-dappled path of the market, light poured through the slanted roofs, scattering across her small frame. Each step she took echoed softly on the brick road. Humble, steady, and full of quiet strength. Just like the life she was determined to keep building. Day after day, one small victory at a time. That afternoon, the house was unusually quiet. Hung sat at his desk, files spread across the polished wooden surface like a fan of unfinished thoughts. Sunlight filtered through the blinds, painting faint golden streaks on the floor and glinting off a cup of coffee long gone cold. His phone lay motionless beside it, the screen dark, the morning's unanswered call to Tieu still lingering in his mind. Outside, the sound of birds and rustling leaves drifted faintly through the open window. A few minutes later, the hum of an engine stopped outside the gate. Moments after, a familiar voice echoed from the doorway. "Good afternoon, sir. I brought the documents and cash you requested." It was Min, his trusted financial manager. Hung nodded, gesturing for him to sit. Min opened his leather briefcase and carefully placed a thick envelope on the desk. Inside were neat stacks of money, 5 billion dong in cash. "The remaining 10 billion has already been transferred to your account, just as you instructed," Min said quietly. For a long moment, Hung didn't respond. He simply stared at the money, his fingers interlaced, eyes calm but clouded with thought. Finally, he spoke, voice low and even. James is still pushing forward with the hydroelectric dam project. You know about it. His goal is to give the mountain villagers stable water during the dry season, help them grow rice, vegetables, live better lives. But there's a group trying to crush him, powerful people who want the project for themselves. Min frowned. You mean they're trying to buy him out? Hung nodded, his gaze heavy. Yes. They're pressuring him to sell the water rights and give up control. James is idealistic, too trusting, and he's cornered. I'm thinking of helping him, just enough to buy time. He paused, eyes turning toward the window where the breeze stirred loose papers on the desk. Our company doesn't need to expand right now. Pull the capital from the side projects. Consolidate what we can. It might hurt profits for a while, but some things are worth more than numbers. Min hesitated, worry crossing his face. But, what if he can't pay it back in time? A faint smile flickered across Hung's lips, tired, but resolute. Then I'll take the loss. I trust him. James has heart, and that's rare in business. If people like him don't get a chance, the world will only be left to those who take, not those who build. Silence filled the room again, broken only by the ticking of the wall clock. Finally, Min nodded slowly. I understand. I'll handle the transfers today and send you confirmation before evening. Good, Hung said softly, closing the file in front of him. And keep an eye on the southern factory. Productivity's been down, check the supply chain and report anything unusual. Yes, sir. Their discussion continued for nearly an hour, numbers, projects, logistics, until the sun shifted across the window pane, laying a weary light across Hung's face. When Min finally gathered the files and bowed, Hung simply said, "Drive carefully." Once the door closed, silence returned. The papers on the desk fluttered softly under the breeze, their edges whispering against one another. Hung leaned back in his chair, gaze distant. Beyond the business, beyond the noise of deals and deadlines, a quiet image flickered in his mind. Tieu sitting by her small market stall, sunlight glinting off the melons she sold, her gentle smile lost in the hum of the crowd. He exhaled slowly, his heart heavy with thoughts he couldn't quite name. A tangle of duty, worry, and something tender, fragile, that had long outgrown reason. The next morning, sunlight came early. When the dew still clung to the tips of young grass, Hung was already standing outside Tieu's gate. From afar came the crow of roosters and the bright call of birds perched on treetops. The air was crisp and cool, and a gentle breeze lifted the edge of Tieu's blouse as she stepped outside, a small bamboo basket in hand. She blinked, surprised to see him waiting. "You're here so early," she said, her voice still soft with sleep. "I was afraid it'd get too hot later," he replied with an easy smile. "Let's go to the market while the air's still cool." They walked side by side down the winding dirt road that led to the village market. Tall bamboo arched above them, their leaves whispering in the wind. Now and then, sunlight slipped through the gaps, scattering golden specks over their shoulders. On either side, the rice fields stretched wide and green, swaying gently like waves in a quiet sea. The mingled scent of earth, wildflowers, and morning dew drifted through the air, a smell that made the soul feel light. The market was lively, buzzing with voices and laughter. Vendors called out their prices, children's giggles rang through the crowd, and the clang of metal scales echoed above it all. It was a symphony of daily life, noisy, warm, and full of simple joy. Tieu knelt to pick through a pile of fresh greens, brushing away the lingering drops of dew that sparkled like glass beads. Her fingers were gentle, her movements calm and sure. Hung stood nearby, holding her basket, his eyes quietly following every motion. "The vegetables look so fresh," he said softly. "Just looking at them makes me hungry." She laughed, sunlight catching the curve of her lips. "You have to choose carefully, the better the seedling, the faster it grows." After gathering what she needed, they left the market, walking back along the stone path. Morning light poured like honey across the road, glinting off the dew still clinging to the leaves. Their shadows stretched long behind them, merging, two silhouettes moving gently between the green of the rice fields and the whispering wind. At home, Tieu spread a mat on the porch and emptied her basket. The fresh greens glistened under the light, the smell of soil and dew mingling into something clean and real. Hung glanced around the garden, smiling. "The soil here's good," he said. "Anything would grow easily." She nodded, still working with her hands. "As long as you water them and the sun isn't too harsh, they'll thrive." "Let me help you with the gloves," he said, his voice low and steady. He picked up the pair of fabric gloves and carefully helped her slip them on, one finger at a time. It was such a small gesture, yet it made her heart flutter. The sunlight fell across her face, turning her cheeks a soft shade of pink. They began working together. The soil was still moist from last night's rain, smooth and dark beneath their hands. The sounds of the morning surrounded them, the scrape of tools, the hum of insects, the rustling bamboo at the gate. It all blended into a quiet rhythm of labor and peace. They spoke little, only exchanging bits of conversation about the garden, the woodshop, the children next door. Every now and then, their laughter rose softly, like sunlight breaking through clouds. With each passing minute, the work drew them closer, not through words, but through the gentle comfort of being side by side. Sweat glistened on their foreheads, catching the light like threads of glass. Above them, clouds drifted lazily across an endless blue sky. Golden sunlight poured over the garden, where neat rows of green sprouts had begun to take shape. And in that moment, the two of them, a weathered man and a woman who had known too much hardship, were quietly planting the first seeds of something new. After a while, Hung set his hoe aside, wiping the sweat from his brow. "Take a break," he said gently. "The sun's getting stronger." Tieu nodded, went inside, and returned with a bowl of cool water. She handed it to him with a faint smile. "Drink this. Working too long in the sun will wear you out." He accepted it, his tone warm but sincere. "Thank you. It's been a while since I worked and actually felt happy doing it." They sat together on the porch steps. The breeze carried the scent of damp soil, and somewhere in the distance came the laughter of children. No words were needed, just the quiet meeting of eyes, enough to fill the silence with peace. After a while, Hung set the bowl down and turned to her. "I need to stop by home for a bit," he said. "On the way back, I'll pick up the kids for you, and maybe cook lunch." Her eyes widened slightly. "You cook?" He laughed, teasing but genuine. "I do. Give me a chance to prove it." She lowered her gaze, a soft smile curving her lips. "Then, I'll be waiting." "I'll be back soon," he promised, his voice firm yet tender. Before leaving, Hung rolled up his sleeves one more time and looked out over the garden they had just planted. The young sprouts stood in perfect rows, gleaming in the sunlight like tiny emeralds. "Beautiful," he murmured. "Life's the same, if you're willing to sow, one day it'll bloom." Tieu stood quietly at the doorway, watching him disappear beyond the bamboo grove. And as the wind brushed past, a calm, glowing warmth filled her chest. A feeling soft yet deep, like the fragile green shoots waking beneath the gentle touch of morning light. That afternoon, the sun dipped low behind the mountains, casting a golden hush across the valley. Inside the small house, Hung stepped in through the gate, loosened his jacket, washed his hands, and went straight to the kitchen. The air was filled with the comforting aroma of sizzling shallots and simmering broth, crab soup with tender water mimosa, a humble yet rich scent of the countryside. He moved with quiet focus, slicing vegetables, tasting the broth, adjusting the seasoning. Every now and then glancing out the window, where the last strands of sunlight filtered through the trees and painted long streaks across the tiled floor. Then, his phone rang, breaking the stillness. He wiped his hands and answered. "Mr. Hung, your bag of field crabs just arrived." "I'll leave it by the gate," said the delivery man. "Got it, I'll come down." Stepping outside, he picked up the bag, the crabs still lively, claws clinking faintly against the plastic. A small smile curved his lips. It had been a long time since he'd felt this way. The quiet thrill of preparing dinner for a family waiting at home. Not long after, the sound of cheerful chatter drifted in from the lane. Tieu was back, holding the sleepy baby Long in her arms, while Little Un skipped ahead, her laughter clear as the afternoon light. Seeing them, Hung hurried out to meet them. He took the basket from her hands. "Come inside, it's still hot out. You rest, dinner's almost ready." She smiled, weary but warm. "Thank you." Inside, she laid baby Long on the small sofa by the window, where soft light streamed in, then sat down beside him. From the kitchen came the soft clatter of dishes. The meal was simple: steaming white rice, a bowl of crab soup fragrant with dill, bright green vegetables, and a plate of sautéed greens. Yet somehow, the small house felt fuller, warmer than ever before. Hung carried the tray out, setting it on the table. Tieu quickly began feeding in between her own hurried bites. He watched for a moment, smiling quietly, then placed a piece of crab in her bowl. "Here, I've already picked out the meat. Eat slowly. I'll keep an eye on the kids." She looked up, a shy smile touching her lips. "It's okay, I'm used to eating while feeding them." "I know," he said gently, "but now that I'm here, you don't have to rush." He deftly broke open another crab, setting the soft, sweet meat into her bowl and Anne's. "These were fresh this morning," he said lightly. "Caught straight from the field." "They're really good," she murmured, her voice soft with gratitude. Little Un giggled between bites, her small hand brushing against his. "Eat slower, sweetheart," Hung said, laughing. "You'll choke." "I won't," she chirped, her voice bright and sure. Laughter and the clinking of spoons filled the air, mingling with the faint scent of soup and the glow of sunset spilling across the floor. In the corner, baby Long slept soundly, his breath steady, his tiny face bathed in the golden light. Hung's eyes softened as he looked at Tieu, still feeding in, eating in quiet haste. He gently placed more food in her bowl. "I called you earlier but couldn't reach you," he said, voice low. "Oh. I must have been at the market then. I left my phone in the basket," she replied, her tone apologetic. "I thought maybe you weren't feeling well," he said with a faint smile, his eyes tender. She didn't answer, just lowered her gaze, her fingers curling around the warm bowl he'd handed her. Sometimes, silence spoke more deeply than words ever could. Outside, the last light of day faded behind the hills. The wind carried the scent of damp grass and the distant calls of birds returning to their nests. Inside, there was only the soft hum of contentment, and chatter, Long's even breathing, the quiet rhythm of a home coming to life. Hung leaned back, taking in the moment. For the first time in a long while, he felt something he hadn't dared to name. The peace of belonging. That simple evening meal, under a humble roof, marked the beginning of something new. A tender chapter in both their lives. For her, it was the calm after years of hardship. For him, it was finally finding the place, and the people, he'd been searching for all along.
Bây giờ là 5 giờ 18 phút chiều và hiện tại thì mình đang còn một video nữa chưa có hoàn thành. Mọi người ơi, hãy đón xem những video ở trên kênh mình và ủng hộ cho kênh mình nhiều hơn nhé. Cảm ơn mọi người rất là nhiều. Hẹn gặp lại mọi người trong những video sau. Nếu như mọi người yêu quý kênh mình thì hãy đăng ký kênh, sau đó bật chuông thông báo lên để không bỏ lỡ bất kỳ video nào mọi người nhé. Chào tạm biệt và hẹn gặp lại.